Hello? Hello, is anyone out there? Hello? Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? Lolly's here. Am I here? Is anyone else here? Hello! Hey, guys. I am a terrible YouTuber, and I did not make sure that I was prepared. So I'm Discord open. Patrons. My Discord's open. Nope. I've totally accidentally logged into some other account. Okay, I'm going to casually try to figure out how to log out of Discord and log back into Discord with my old self who doesn't understand technology. But we're doing it. I do want to I was going to say my mods know, but everybody should know that for this stream, we have slow mode activated. So that should help us at the very least, if we have any trolls that enter the room. I think I'm logged in. Let's see how the chat's going so far. I feel like I'm talking to myself. I know that we're very booby again today. Let's see. Love the red. Thank you. If you haven't noticed, it's the exact same as the black, veranda-ass romper getup that I wore a while back. So yes, we're doing red. I found it in a few colors actually on Amazon, which makes me mad because I'm pretty sure that the black one that I got was from Nordstrom. And if it was from Nordstrom, it was not cheap. When this is the exact same one. Let's see. Why am I not wearing black on this mournful day? Very disrespectful because I've been wearing black a lot. But I did decide go for like maybe red to show my fury. How's that? I'm anger today. You know the movie Inside Out? Which is one of my top 5 favorite movies. And if it's not one of your top 5 favorite movies, that means you haven't watched it, which means you need to go watch it. You probably shouldn't be watching this. You should be watching Inside Out right now. But I am anger from Inside Out. Does that count? I took notes on the whole Jessi and Gabbie situation, and I really should have taken notes of the things that I needed to point out at the beginning of this. Because I'm going to be real with you guys. I really don't think that we'll be able to cover these 2 huge things, like especially the Jessi and Gabbie thing being massive. Trisha announcing that they're leaving Frenemies again is enough of a topic on its own. So it looks like we're probably going to talk about both a little, not a little, a lot, or for like an hour and a half. And then it looks like we're probably going to do another VAP this week. So is anybody around? Anybody care to join me? Like 6:00 Thursday? How does that sound? Is it a date? Yes or no? Yes or no? Answer me. I love you too, Rachel. Double bap. What do we think of that? Will people be around? Thursdays are pretty good, right? Awesome. Yeah, because I just foresee this. If we try to tackle both of these topics on top of the other couple things I need to mention, like we'll be here all night, and then I'm not going to get to play any trivia with my friend and my boyfriend tonight. Now I think I'd love to do 2 this week because it's just an eventful week. Some housekeeping things, literally housekeeping. I ordered an ottoman, so I wish I could throw that basket out of the frame. I did so that when I put my feet up, I can have an ottoman. But if you guys haven't noticed, I pulled my chair forward a little bit so that you guys have more of me and like less of the background in my videos and stuff. I'm not sure if I love it. Like now I feel like the background needs to be lit. So that's something I'd have to work on. Sucks. I really don't. I really want to move that basket. Can I move that basket, please? I hate it. It's bothering me and it's gonna bother the shit out of me. And we're good. Oh, that's so much better. Look how beautiful it looks over there. Oh my gosh. I think my chair's from Wayfair, guys. I don't know exactly. I shop and then I forget where things are from. But a lot of people have asked me that. I love what my hair did when I bent over. I should do that more. You like the setup? Thank you. My voice is calming. Thank you, Camilla. I'm so beautiful. Thank you. When I do this, thank you. Move the basket, baby. Thank you. Thank you for your blessing, Leaf. Yeah, so I got an ottoman coming so that I can put my feet up and not have them on a chair. Oh, I have. You think I'm just like naturally this beautiful? No, I've got 2 soft boxes and a ring light, but I don't have a separate light for back here. So then that would be a whole other thing. So we'll figure it out. Thank you. Love my necklaces. So a couple things. Yeah. Oh yeah. What Blue said. Don't be a dick. Just in general. Ever. But especially not on my live. Not on my live. You will get booted the hell out of here. It's been 6 minutes, so I'm allowed to say cuss words without getting demonetized. Alistair says, oh, whoa, Trisha's leaving Frenemies again for what, the eighth time this year. Not this year, but like, yeah, in the past, since it started. Before we get into that, just like I always try to say, keep in mind, this is a public live event, done podcast style. It's not a podcast because I'm not wearing headphones. But this is not a regular main channel, main content. What I keep saying it wrong. I call it main channel, but somebody says it main content. Whatever. It's not main content. It's a podcast. So it's going to be a conversation. I'm going to be reading from the chat. I'm going to be reading from emails. I'm going to be reading from Discord. And so if you need something that's concise and done in a clean narrative format, this ain't the video for you. But I probably will have one of those coming soon. So expect tangents and conversation. Show with no name. $20. My goodness. That's way too much. Thank you. I just listened to the phone call clips and wow, Gabbie Hanna is basically a villain. I don't think she should have a platform. Yeah, it's pretty damning. Are people usually mean? Somebody asked. I don't think so, but you never know what's going to happen, especially when I start talking, because I'm a social commentator. And so I've said this, I think, in a video that's coming to you guys tomorrow night, if everything goes as planned. I know that I'm going to be ruffling feathers. And every time I talk about somebody new, which I haven't been because everything's been all Gabbie Hanna all the time. But if I talk about somebody new or just some new fan of whoever I'm talking about comes forward, then that invites other communities into my life and to hate me. And so I should point out, because, so a lot of you guys were probably here last week when, if you don't know about the Roblox kids, maybe I'll make a video about it, but I have what I call the Roblox kids who came along with that nasty death threat that I got. Mariachi Goth says Gabbie Hanna has nothing is not Audacity. If not Audacity. Yes, yeah, I agree. Yeah, Roblox kids. So I was talking to my new psychiatrist about this, trying to explain YouTube stuff to her this morning. And my God, if you do this job and you get a new psychiatrist or a new therapist, you have to explain all the ins and outs of this world. And it's so embarrassing, especially at 35. But you've got your, I told her about like the regular Gabbie Hanna stance that were the ones that were active in the hate mob. And she asked, like, what's the age rate? Like, what is the demographic? And I was like, well, it's mostly female. You would think that they're 12, but they're like 16 to 28. Like, they're usually a lot of them are in their 20s. Hello from Scotland, says Leoside. I try really hard to pronounce people's names right. Leoside. Tell me if I did that, if I was close at all. But thank you for the donation. But yeah, I told her, you would think about 12, but they're mostly like the ones that we've been dealing with are in their 20s for the most part. Um, and then I explained, but the really nasty shit that I've been dealing with is from, I think, kids. And if you don't know about that, maybe we should have a whole BAP around the Roblox kids if that stuff's not already like dead and gone and cold tea. But if you didn't see my tweet where I saw a screenshot from their Discord and they were trying to talk about lawsuits and these kids just like they threatened to sue everybody. They're probably like 11 years old, all threatening to sue each other. And I remember one trying to explain because I told them, I was like, I'm not suing anyone. I said that I was pressing charges on this one person because they're all claiming that like I'm suing a second person. It's like, no, I'm suing that, or I'm pressing charges on the one person. And they like don't seem to know the difference. And like even the Gabbie stand, sorry, but like they don't know the difference either, or they didn't. So I explained to them that no, this is different. So I saw in their Discord, they were like, it's not a sue court, it's a actual court. And that's just been like the funniest quote of the week. Dame says, hydrate yourselves. I'm going to take that as a hashtag watergang. Which, by the way, Dame, if you didn't know, you can type hashtag watergang, and it means that anybody who sees that has to take a sip of water. If they have any ounce of integrity. But I only have, speaking of ounces, so much water left. Cassidy says, I'm so happy I'm finally able to catch one of these. Yay. I'm happy you are too. Let me see. Is there another super chat that I got that... Oh gosh, let me not get in trouble again. Nina says, keep the same energy, both Gabbie and... Wait, let me make sure that this wasn't the... I'm seeing the... Okay, I don't know if this is new, but I'm seeing super chats I'm able to scroll around at the top. Okay. So I read the one from Cassidy. Nina says to keep the same energy, both Gabbie and Trish throw around the word gaslighting way too much. As a psych major, it bothers me. Also, love your content. Thank you. I think in general, people throw that term around too much. I think people are starting to use it anytime to mean that they're hurt or disagree. Because I don't see it just with them. I see it with a lot of people. Gemma. Hi, Gemma. Gemma says, do you expect a response from Gabbie? Last I saw, she posted a gym video. I don't know. I really don't know. Because she's already at the point where her career was like ending, right? And we'll get into all this. But at this point, it's like, is it even worth it to try? I don't know. Goobs, are we going to need to have seen all the videos from Jessi to understand this BAP? I don't know. I don't have an outline for it, but we'll probably talk about the main points that were hit on. Spinica says, Gabbie says in many videos, including her story time on Jessi, I don't know this person anymore, but I wish them nothing but the best, yet is going against it when she brings up her trauma annually. Yep. But she will twist it and make it sound like it's Jessi bringing it up to hurt Gabbie. So, of course, there's always an explanation. Okay. Oh, people are fired up. Like, I'll be honest with you guys. I talked to Jessi about this right before she posted the videos and right after. She's not on Twitter, so there's no point in tagging her or anything. But I was like, well, if you want to know, I'll let you know how it's going. And she was like, just let me know if she was like, is the world exploding? And I said, I think she was kidding. And I was like, yeah, from at least the side of Twitter that I see. Morn. Dante says, I'm so proud of Jessi for bringing the calls to light to relive. To relive the trauma again and again would literally break me. Yeah, it needs to be done. And I think, and that's what I told her. I was like, it needs to, if this is what you need in order to make it stop or like hope that it'll stop, then do it. Like I think I'm getting way too ahead of myself. Somebody remind me if you don't mind, to talk about kind of some of the things that Jessi and I have talked about around this, particularly whether or not she deserves to talk about this. Samantha Galarza says, I lost access to my Twitter, so I can only say it here. So hi, I love you. That's all. I love you too, dude. Thank you. You didn't have to pay $10 to tell me that, but thank you. Let me click out of these. Okay. So before I get started on today's topics, give me a moment because I do. Hey, Alicia, you may want to trigger warn the contents. Thank you. I wish I didn't have to be honest with you, because it should be obvious, but I need to get better at this. Thank you. Thank you, Ashley. Trigger warning. We're going to be talking about all kinds of nasty things, particularly SA and everything that goes along with not only SA, but dealing with that in publicly and with friends, with enemies, being not believed, probably some sort of psychological abuse. What else? Yeah, I think the Trisha stuff doesn't need a trigger warning, really. Mental health stuff probably around that. Tell me if I missed any trigger warnings, but at the same time, we'll have to just see as things come up. But I do before, thank you for that, Ashley. Before I get into anything else, last week, I want to touch on this briefly. I read an email from a patron of mine who, I'll just be honest with you, is a former patron now. They are no longer in my Discord community for reasons outside of what happened in the chat. But it was a peaceful parting. I wish them well. They seem to wish everybody else well. But in that email, let me see. Meow Meow says, the insanity that's taken place these last few weeks has got me thinking of Carmageddon last year. Oh yeah, it's last year all over again. But last week, I shared oh my goodness, I may have to go back and read all these super chats. My goodness, you guys are being so freaking generous. I'm going to have to make sure that I'm opening up my supers tab in Studio, Jess, if you're out there, so that I can make sure that I get the story out. Yeah, so to give you a brief rundown, if you weren't there, I read an email in which one of my patrons explained that they had a bad experience in the community / Discord of this YouTuber, this influencer, Christina Maioni, I believe it is how it's pronounced. And there were claims in there, and I should have done a better job. In general, I want to make this a rule going forward. If I'm going to be reading claims, particularly about somebody new, somebody I don't know about, I said this to that person, and I think it's a good point to be made to anything. If you're going to make a claim about somebody, that you shouldn't need more than 1, 2, 3 screenshots to prove your point. And it shouldn't require captions and context and all of that. If it's not obvious in 1, 2, 3 screenshots, then it's not obvious. And so if you are going to email me, I don't want to stop that, allowing, people to write in and talk about their experiences with different communities and creators. But if you're going to make claims, they need to be substantial enough to where you can provide screenshots. And if it's something new, and it's a whole letter, like it's going to be something way ahead of time that you have to understand I may never read on the podcast, just because I have time for the short ones. The longer ones, it all depends on whether there's time, whether the topic is relevant, etc. But I need to do a better job of making sure that the claims that I'm reading are backed up with screenshots. And when I did look into the situation and the claims that were made against Christina, I'm not going to say that whoever experienced those things and felt that way, I'm not going to say that that's invalid, because their experience is their experience and how they feel is totally valid. But I didn't see what that person saw. In fact, I saw a lot of professionalism and just good-natured responsibility on behalf of not only Christina, but her primary admin, whose name, I believe he's a teenage boy named Evie. And I find both of them just to be very lovely people. And so there was just a disagreement there between me and my patron, which we were fine with. But I did want to kind of clear that up, that I don't stand by the things that I read about Christina or her admin. So if you guys are there, Christina, Evie, hey, sending my love. Thank you for being patient with me. Thank you for to everybody while I deal with this gnat that's in my face. But yeah, thanks for taking the time to chat with me and to be understanding of the fact that Christina and I are both new to YouTube. I mean, she's got 200K subscribers. I do not know how she deals with that, but we both came up very fast. And so we're both kind of learning. So I think, and we both seem to have a lot of very similar just viewpoints. And so I think in talking to her was very nice. So I'm trying to get to my supers tab, Jess, and I already have so many, oh, okay, I think I found it. I have so many notifications on Discord that I don't know if I'm going to see any new just so you guys know, patrons, I am closing out the notifications from your DMs. If I don't respond to your DM in the next 24 hours, just ping me, because I might forget and I do want to read them. So yeah, that's more or less what I wanted to cover regarding Christina before I got into anything. My goodness, am I only going to have time to read super chats? Hi, Shannon. Okay, so now that I've got that pulled up and I'm done speaking to Christina, who now I am a fan of. I need to watch her content because I just like her. Okay. Wow, there's a lot already. Okay. So going back, I did read Gemma's super chat. Goobs. Are we going to need to see videos? Don't know. Rachel said, glad other channels are pointing out what she did. Are we speaking about the Gabbie situation? If so, like, who is not talking about this? And like, this is going to keep the Gabbie train going for a while. Like, I was going to take a break. Nope. I took a break and talked about, what did I talk about last week? I took creators and their responsibility with their platforms without talking about Gabbie at all. So, but that's what's going on right now. That's what we're talking about. Gabbie says, or Spenica, sorry if I'm so pronouncing that wrong. Gabbie says in many videos, including her. Oh, I did read that one. Okay, but I think I did miss Rachel, so I'm glad that I came to this tab. I read Dante's and Samantha's and Meow Meow. Wendy, follower since first vid. Dang, what a ride. Thanks for sticking with it and creating such a great community. Thank you, Wendy, because as you can probably guess, there have been times where I've wondered if I was going to stick with this. And well, obviously, you could probably guess that the day of the hate mob, I worried that I was done and that it was not my choice, that this person was going to take my YouTube channel away from me, and that I would just have to I would have to get offline altogether because people know who I am now. So even if I try to even have like an Instagram, like I was so worried that like my online presence was going to go away entirely. And I had come to love this thing. And then I even started to think like, this thing that I love, can I love it the way that I did prior to this thing that happened? And I'll be honest with you, I didn't for a while. I didn't for probably the remainder of the year. It was around the end of the year. I joke a lot with Ashley that she saved my career, my YouTube career. It's true. It was around the end of the year that Ashley had a talk with me and just kind of like said like, okay, here are the things that you used to do that you're not doing anymore. So, I would recommend you maybe start doing some of these things again. And I did. And it was more of I said it a lot at that time, and I still think it's true. It was like a static friction thing, like when you stop doing something, and then it's so hard to get the ball rolling. And then once you do it, then of course there's momentum there, and you get back in the swing of things. So, but I was so not in the swing of things. And so I had a lot of that static friction, and I was scared and nervous and didn't know how to go about coming back to my channel regularly. So thank you, Wendy, for that comment. That was a really long response to that. Shell Balls says, so happy you're finally getting vindicated for everything that happened this past year. I was worried for you, and you still prospered despite it all. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad that people are noticing. There are times that I get frustrated because I'm just like, you guys are now talking about this. This happened a year ago. Like, you guys didn't see those live streams, but people are doing their best, and they're extending a lot of validation and love and all of that to me for what happened a year ago. So I appreciate it now. I appreciate it whenever. YouTube viewer, I like that username, says, I'm glad Trisha was able to properly show the world what kind of person Gabbie is. Ethan too, before they bowed out their last act. That's funny. I wish they had talked a little bit more about it, but I'm glad that Trisha, because I know that at one point they were like, we're not going to talk about Gabbie on the show, and because that's what Gabbie wanted. But I'm kind of glad Trisha did. Meow 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 says, I think Gabbie Hanna was using court as a weapon to try to force Jessi Smiles into doing her bidding. I don't think she ever intended to actually pursue it, considering how she reacted to Jessi Smiles saying, sue me. Big fan, by the way. Thank you. Yeah, that was totally weird. I've thought that so I had seen those clips a year ago, and the whole, like, Jessi made a really good point when it's like, if we're going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and we're not coming to an agreement on our own, then that's when you have to take it to the court. Like, if somebody feels strongly enough about it. And so she made a good point. She was like, hey, if you feel so strongly and we can't come to an agreement, sue me. Let's just like let a judge figure this out, or lawyers meet in mediation or whatever. And saying, like, then we don't have to bring our fans. We don't have to, like, drag the whole public into this and kind of like playing judge and jury for us, is what I took that to mean. And Gabbie saying, like, I want my fans involved in this because it affects them. How is that their business? How is Jessi's essay? I mean, I don't know what Jessi's done to Gabbie that Gabbie thinks that she has like some sort of like case against Jessi. But this is not, it affects Gabbie's fans in that they need to be taught a lesson. So it sounded like a cop out to me. That's what it was. It was a total cop out. So it didn't make sense. Nayli says, you look like a woman of the night in that color with the girls on display. I know that is, no, you probably mean that in a nice way. Thank you, Nayli. We're getting a little saucy today. So people are mad. I need to be in spicy mode. I have the choker, and I'm wearing red and dark lips. So I'm a bad girl. I didn't have black for my upper lip. Louis Side says, Gabbie Hanna needs to leave the internet. It's Lucy, by the way. That's easy. Thank you. Let's see. I think there might be some more that are popping up. I got to refresh, guys. So many people chatting. I think just like diving into this head first and like taking it part by part. So to whoever asked if you needed to see these clips first, perhaps I can give some sort of summary. Although I tried to take a summary down as like right before this, but I was running late. So I only really summarized like the first 3 videos. So maybe we will talk more about the beginning and then talk more about the rest of it on Wednesday or Thursday, since we're having 2 BAPs today. We've got some more super chats. So many of you. I don't deserve you. Okay. So non-binary Time Lord Tiffany said, I joined your Patreon and Discord over the weekend, and I just wanted to say how welcoming everyone has been. You have a lovely corner of the internet. I really do. I really do. I'm really proud of that space, and I'm so glad that, thank you to my patrons. Thank you for being so cool to everybody who joins. And I really do think that because the patrons are so welcoming to new people, then it just kind of like people keep paying it forward. So I love the way you guys celebrate each other, and it makes me very happy. I'm glad you're having a good time, Tiffany. Mrs. Pockets the Riot says there's 1.5 here in the chat. I didn't even take a look at that. 1.5 here in the chat and only 199 likes. Remember to like the video, everyone, and have a great day. That's a nice message. Thank you. Doggo the Good Boy says, Jessi breaking down while Gabbie railroaded with manipulation was so sad. Newsflash, intent doesn't matter when you hurt someone that badly. Yeah, I mean, I think intent matters, but intent doesn't matter when you owe somebody an apology. That's something that I really hate, is when you deserve an apology, but you don't receive one because the person didn't mean to hurt you. Like, that's some bullshit. I've dealt with people like that, and I've complained about that before. Karma B. Swift said, stick with it. I'm not sure what, but just life in general, I feel like just stick with it. Maybe you were talking about my channel. Cassie says, Gabbie Hanna is disgusting. She is the monster. Cassie, you reminded me. I just wanted to go back one more time and say, regarding the whole Christina Mayone thing, when we were talking about her, she came into the chat, and it just so happened I mentioned those Roblox kids, right? And how like they have the dirtiest, not even that nastiest mouths. They have the goriest minds of anyone I've interacted with on the internet. And just as Christina was talking in the chat for the first time, a whole bunch of those Roblox kids came in and spammed our chat with horrible, like nasty, vile slurs, and they bypassed any sort of like auto modding by using special characters that spelled out nasty words. So they're going to get their day. But that was really upsetting to the people in my chat. So I'm really sorry if you were there and saw that. I'm really sorry. I know for some people, they had to leave the video because of that. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry to anybody who saw that. Alistair says, I believe that Gabbie is incapable of changing. For her to change, she would have to admit that she has done horrible stuff. I think she is incapable. I think she's incapable of. Yeah. I think that the first step is admitting that she's not perfect. And she'll say that she's not perfect, but I mean like truly admitting that she has fucked up in situations and like really own something without blaming somebody at the same time. And I don't know that she's able to do that. I feel like that would probably feel like an entire self-annihilation to her. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a clinician of any sort. It's just my armchair psychology. I think that would feel like total self-annihilation to admit that you were wrong at all in any situation. My ring light is facing that way. We're just going to go with it. And I shouldn't have looked directly at it because now I can't see what's on my damn screen. Let's see. Samantha says, Gabbie demanding a public statement was scary. Ugh, yeah, that was disgusting. That was one of the worst parts of all that. Show with No Name says, Gabbie lives in a house built on lies. And the irony is that she does live in a glass house and she throws stones. That's it's so funny because I don't know much about her music, but like the little like names here and there, I'm like, that's so fitting for you. Like Monster, Bad Karma. I don't know other songs, but Glass House, I think, was either one, or was the album name something like that. But like, if you don't know the phrase, the saying, it's people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, which means if you can't take it, don't dish it. So what's up with that, Gabbie? Gabbie stands. What's up with that? That's funny. I could probably say the same about Sharisa. Liz says, late, but I made it, with lots of fun emojis. I've been ready for today's VAP. Love you, Leash. I love you too. Love what you're doing. Keep it up. Thank you for all you do for us. Heart, heart, heart. After today's ep, I may be emailing you. Please do. Thank you. That's so sweet. Love it when you guys just send me nice messages, but you don't have to pay money to send me nice messages. You can pay me money and like say mean things to me if you want. You're allowed to do that. My mods do that. Mods, you guys have that one covered. I'm at this point, it looks like we're just like, and I get it. The fact that I'm just reading super chats at this point it makes sense because what happened, what we saw last night, I think people have just been so emotionally charged. The internet has been. And so a lot of people have a lot of things to say. And so it makes sense. And that's probably best that I didn't come here with an outline. Oh, Karma Be Swift, you didn't have to send another super chat, but stick with it, meaning covering Gabbie Hanna. Thank you. I think I am going to stick with it for as long as the market demands it and I have something to say. Those are the only two things that I need. Do people want to hear it? Do I want to talk about it? Yes, we're going to talk about it. Check out my nails. I did them and they were fun and they had little clouds with animal faces on them, but then I painted and then I got paint all around the edges. So now they're not pretty. St. Hudson says, seems like 2 out of 3 of the veteran YouTubers have the same core social/personality issues. It sucks because we grew up with these people. Yeah, that sucks. It makes sense in a way. Like, how are you successful in this arena? I didn't grow up on YouTube, so that's this whole other side of like this. Like when people, like I was sad that Jenna left, but some people grew up on Jenna. And so things like that, or even like Shane Dawson, like him, being canceled and leaving the internet. A lot of people had to go through like a grieving process because they grew up on him. I was an adult by the time YouTube was even established. So that's something that I feel for. I don't know it personally, but it's got to suck. But that's another reason that I said somewhere I think on Twitter that people make a joke. We make jokes all the time. I make jokes. My friends online make jokes that we're the old people online. People who want to be mean to me will call me old. But I was noting that I'm glad that I waited. Like part of me is like, why didn't I do this 12 years ago? I could have done this. But then there's also part of me that's like, you would not have been able to handle it. You had to be in a pretty healthy place to be able to handle this in the least. So it's complicated, dude. It's complicated. Tara Boba, I'm glad that you brought this up. For H3, Trisha really tried. So I want to talk about this for a second. And we may go back and forth and we may revisit Trisha, H3, Frenemies, and Ethan again on Thursday. We're just going to be all over the place. How about that? For H3, Trisha tried really hard to express their emotions respectfully. BPD is so hard, and I commend them. They could have lashed out fully. This isn't their fault and could be mended. I just really empathize. I do too. I empathize with Trisha. I empathize with Ethan. I do understand that everybody has a reason to feel valid in this situation. I was talking to a couple of friends before this, and my personal take, my just like initial take on this all, is that from what I understand, Trisha wanted to be more involved in the production process, making decisions about the podcast, having the podcast have its own place to live, like its own channel, being involved in the process of hiring people, etc. Whereas the podcast started as a spinoff or just a segment on the H3 podcast channel, right? So they had H3 Productions, H3 Productions, and they were creating these things. And Frenemies, let's be honest, at first it did not look like it was going to make it. And I think it was because of the good chemistry between Trisha and Ethan that it was so successful. But it made sense that Ethan was fronting the costs and that Trisha was acting as, the way they put it, an independent contractor. That made sense. Now that this thing has become so much bigger than anybody expected it to be, I think it does make sense to say, okay, I kind of like, now that things are changing, we really see what this is worth. I would like to talk about how things are run. I wish that they had not done that on the podcast. And I really think that pizza is a curse for them. Maybe like if they do this, if they start up again, like maybe don't order pizza anymore because that doesn't work well for them. That said, I also do commend Trisha big time for how they communicated what they were feeling, and then knew when to shut it down. I thought that was super respectable of them. I watched, of course, the video that they made just explaining like this is how I was feeling, and I think Trisha was a little bit hard on themselves, like saying that like I could have handled this better, I could have handled that better. But the fact of the matter is, they felt slighted. They got emotional. They were flushed. You could tell. And instead of going off at the mouth like in the past, they said, this is my frustration. I don't want this to be a spectacle, so I would like for this to shut down. Also, I would like for you to turn this off before I leave because I don't want you talking about me after I leave. And I totally understand that. Even though Ethan in the past has said nice things about Trisha after Trisha stormed off, it's still like a little weird, to have people talking about you, to like, of course people are going to talk about you when you storm out of a room, right? Every time people are going to do that, but you're not meant to hear those conversations. And so I can understand how that's weird, where Trisha's like, I don't want to go back and watch this and know that like you're talking about me afterwards, or at least see it or hear it. So that made sense. So in terms of how they handled themselves in that moment compared to what we've seen in the past, does show a lot of growth. It's huge growth. I still, part of me thinks that like they will work this out, especially now more than ever, because not only has this been something that's proved to be lucrative, which seems to be the driver for Ethan. In my opinion, Ethan seems to be very, very money driven when it comes to the decisions he makes with around this stuff. And I think that's totally fine. He's a business person. He's a very good businessman. And he seems to be very money driven. And Trisha seems to be driven a little bit more by principles and emotions. But the two of them have a really great relationship that they've been building, and they're becoming family. And I really hope that doesn't go away. And based on Trisha's video, it didn't sound like they said it's not personal. This is just about the business. So it sounds like they have every intention of still maintaining that relationship with Ethan and the Kleins. And if that means not being in business together, that's fine too. That's totally, by the way, I see a lot of super chats coming through. I'm going to read them. I just hope that nobody needs me right now, because I see that there are also notifications on Discord. I'm getting stressed out. But what I was saying was, let me see. There's one tag. I just want to make sure that I'm all good, y'all. Oh, I see some. You guys are sharing my super chats. Thank you. I'll use those if I don't find them all in the supers tab. But yeah, I think that if it's going to save their relationship, then as much as we'd all hate to see it go, end the podcast. But if it is something that they can work through, I think they should. I think either way, like, if we're talking about Ethan's motivation being money primarily, and that's one motivation. That's not a slight at Ethan. I like Ethan a lot. I think there are a lot of reasons he does the podcast. I think he does it for the sake of comedy. I think that he does it for the sake of friendship. I think he does it for the sake of getting his opinions out. There's a lot of reasons, but I think that a driving force is money. And so and that's okay. I've said that already. That's okay. So I wonder if maybe he dug his heels a little bit because he didn't want to let go of that control over the money aspect of it. But without Trisha, like, you're not going to have anything from Frenemies. So I'm really hoping that the two of them can come back together and have a meeting, a private meeting, where they see if perhaps they can work something out to where Trisha feels more involved, Trisha feels heard, and Ethan still feels like he's getting what his portion out of it. So I think that it's possible. I don't want to write Trisha off, but we have seen them be pretty impulsive, and they know they are. And we've heard I'm leaving the podcast at least two or three times at least, very kind of like abruptly. And the reason that I say I think and hope that there might be a chance that it comes back is because Trisha said that they were leaving the podcast at a moment of high, intense emotion. And I say often, obviously I learned this in like therapy and psychology in general, but it's not good to make decisions, important decisions, especially while highly emotionally charged. You're in your limbic system. You are not. I have this whole like list of notes that I gave to some of my patrons that kind of goes through what Dr. Kirk from Psychology in Seattle, like his explanation of how like the limbic system prevents you from being able to make decisions. But basically, when you're that flooded, your mind and your body think that you're fighting a bear, and so all your blood goes to your muscles so you can fight that bear. By the way, did anyone see that video of that woman that like fought a bear off of a wall after that bear was trying to attack her dogs? That was crazy. Your body thinks that you're trying to fight a bear. Your blood leaves your brain, goes to your muscles, and you can't think. Like, you can't think rationally. You can't consider other people's feelings, and you can't do what I love, Dr. Kirk calls it, higher math. You can't do higher math. So I'm hoping that once things calm down, that Ethan and Trisha can do their higher math together. Those are my initial thoughts on Trisha leaving Frenemies. So I wanted to at least address that before getting really in the weeds about the Jessi stuff. So thank you for letting me share all that. Now I'm going to read the super chats that I have missed during my diatribe. Hashtag water gang. Just a little bit. Okay. Super chat and sticker activity. That's funny. I see that there was a small donation with the message deleted. Let's see who we left off on. Okay, so Taro Boba, thank you for that, for prompting me with that. You didn't know you were prompting me, but thank you. Meow, meow, meow. I love your name, and I love that I have to say your name every time I read one of your messages. Pretty sure I have that red romper. You look great. Thank you. You look great in it too. Thank you. Lucy says adulting is hard, yo. Keep being awesome. XO. Thank you. Samantha Galarza says, I am paying money to send you a nice message because you said not to. I'm glad you've kept your head up after the Gabbie Hanna bullying. That's funny. I am too. I'm very grateful to this community for helping me get through that time, man. Dude, that was oof. If I didn't have the people around me, and when I mean around me, I mean online, because I didn't have anyone around me. We were in the midst of COVID. That's not nice. Gabbie, you shouldn't send hate mobs when we're in the middle of a quarantine. That's just like the worst time to do it. You should have done it like when I was with my mom or something like that. That was mean. I'm not reading. A koala likes waffles. Thank you for the donation. I'm not reading your message. Maddie Dell says, you look so stunning. Thank you. Also, I want to say with H3, I respect Trisha and Ethan and like them both a lot. Hopefully they work it out. I think a lot of us feel that way. I know there are a lot of people who don't, but I think a lot of us around here do. Dante said, I think you're right. And I think because of all the stress from the article by BuzzFeed, it might have been the straw that broke the camel's back. Trisha is growing and it shows. Yeah. And a smiley face. And that's true. The other thing that I noticed too, because obviously I went into watching that episode knowing, how it was going to end, because Trisha released their video before Ethan released the Frenemies podcast. And at the very beginning, I don't want to place blame, but at the very beginning, Trisha said, I'm very angry today or something like that. I'm really emotional today. So that's not to say that anything they said was invalid or that Ethan didn't do the things that Trisha claimed, but again, I think it was already going to be an emotionally charged episode. And yeah, and why wouldn't you be emotional if the day before or a couple days prior some article came out and everybody's talking about it, and in said article all this shit is said about you, that you're trying to like end this person's career by calling their calling record labels or something like that. I hated that article so much. Like initially I hated it because it was boring as fuck. Like I told a lot of people TLDR with that article. Like when Kat, everybody's talking about Kat Tenbarge's article a month or two ago, and like that article was well written, whether you like Kat or not. It was well written enough and written in a clear and understandable narrative without without this weird attempt at comedy. Like if that's not your shtick or you're not good at it, don't try to like put little like spurts of comedy into your article. If it's not there, just don't. And Kat didn't. So I don't remember how long her article was, but I remember being able to read it the whole way through and maintain my interest in it. This article about Gabbie, I didn't understand what the fuck the artist, the journalist or the reporter was trying to even say. And I feel validated because Jess, my friend Jess, subscribe to Fat Sajak. I'm still catching up on your videos. Like, that I've been stressed out with like computer stuff. I know you've been stressed out with computer stuff. I'm catching up on your videos, but there were some things that I'm still finishing Sajak's video on that article. And there was like one at the very beginning where there were two parts where like the journalist tried to be funny. And the article said something like, Gabbie asked what our most embarrassing moments were or something like that. Buy a girl a drink first. Jess goes, what? And that was hilarious to me because that's exactly what I thought too. There was what was the other moment where she was just like, huh? Like that didn't make any sense. It might have been like where there was a sentence where like she said like, this is going on and yet Gabbie blah, blah, blah. And like the two things like did not make sense at all. I don't know if there was another joke somewhere in there that just didn't land. I think there was. I wish I knew off the top of my head. Let's see. Yeah, I should have added that article to this title. Man, there's so much to talk about this week. We could have BAP every single day of the week if I didn't have anything else to do. Molly Farquhar. I think us older millennials are lucky in that the celebs we stand over weren't usually social media figures, so they didn't tend to weaponize us. Totally. We I think that's something I talked about last week. Yeah, last week, in talking about how like I was fanatical about Gabbie Hanna in middle school. She was in elementary school. It's no big deal. No, about Hanson. And the thing is, at that age, dude, like the 90s, like I'm at that age where I'm like the 90s, those were the golden years. That was a good time. I hate anybody who's like, those were the good old days. But the 90s were the good old days. But I hate people who say that. So I hate myself in this moment, but not really. But yeah, it's like you could join a fan club, but you really couldn't connect with other people unless you had friends who liked the same people, like friends nearby, like at school. And then even then, like by the time we were old enough to like Hanson still, but like Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, there were like really poorly made websites dedicated, like fan websites made, but that's it. That's all you had. So you didn't have this quick access to like creating mobs of people and then all working together and like, like dedicating all your time to being online, which is this alternate space. It's not reality. It's not to say that the things that happen online aren't valid. They are, but it's just a different reality than we're living in like outside or here in our homes with the people around us. That was one of the things this new psychiatrist asked me, which was like, how do you keep perspective? How do you like not lose track of reality? And it's like, well, I have people outside of the internet that I engage with, but also my audience tends to be people who also have level heads. I'm getting like tangent, whatever. I promise you guys tangents, whatever. But yeah, we didn't have all this access to each other and to the creator too. I wrote one fan letter, and it was to Larissa Olenek. If Nayli and Sajak are in here, they know who that is. Larissa Olenek, and I never heard back, of course. Because like, what's the point? You know that they're not gonna read it. Lick and sugar scrub if you haven't already. Thank you, Jamie. Wow, there are almost 2,000 people in here. Ha! I better get to talking about Jessi and Gabbie. Shit. Thank you for being a delight to watch and so kind when kindness is not earned. Thank you. Go tell everybody on Twitter that helloleesh is almost at 2,000 people to talk about Jessi and Gabbie. I'm just kidding. You guys are all here. So where were we? Yeah, we didn't have the same stuff, and I think we're better for it. No, sorry. Whoa. That sounded bad. That sounded real bad. Take that back. Rewind. We're not better people for it. I'm just saying it probably served us better. That we did not end up having the same kind of problems and creating the same kind of problems that people in fandoms do now. So let's see, where are we? Shell Bell says, love you, leash, wrenches, and community. Thank you. Thank you for saying hello to everybody. I suggest the stands convert and come on over. Our fearless leader is at least a little bit merciful. LMAO, hashtag watergang devil face. That's funny. I hope everybody took a sip of water. That's funny because it's funny. What you said was a joke. Like, how many times do I need to say it? It was funny. But it's especially funny because I've talked about this in a serious capacity. And I've said, like, well, for one, I've said very seriously, what's going to happen is that hopefully, I need to adjust this chair. I'm so sorry, you guys. What's going to happen, hopefully, is that these stands of Gabbie Hanna's are going to grow up, and they're going to start seeing what I've been talking about, and then they're going to start listening to me and watching my videos from a different perspective. And that's already happening. I can tell you that there is a stan in my DMs right now, and we're getting along just fine. And that person said, you guys might have seen on Twitter, that person said, Gabbie, I don't know that I can defend this when Jessi releases videos. And I have so much respect for that, because it's not me trying to be condescending, but there's no way for me not to sound like I'm looking down on them. But when it comes to like fandoms and stuff like that, these people are so indoctrinated that it's really hard to see anything that to disagree at all with your favorite if you are that steeped in those fandoms. And I saw another fan, a person that I've had a really contentious relationship with, but I saw that person also saying, like, I don't know that I can defend this. And I have a lot of respect for that. Yeah. And just so you guys know, if you come over to the side, you're allowed to disagree with me, and I will not have a hissy fit over it. And then when I joke about it, I'm like, well, I'm going to absorb your audience, Gabbie Hanna, at this rate. So I joke that this is the Gabbie show now. And I also joke that I've absorbed her audience because I'm online making videos more often than she is. And so they're just watching me at this point. They are part of my audience. Ven says, what I don't like is how much hate Trisha's getting. It's like everyone decided to drop them because they're having another mental health episode. I hope that's not happening. I'm sure there's some people who are feeling that way. I mean, to some degree, I get the frustration that it's like, we don't want to worry that Frenemies is over again. And I get the frustration that it's like, it's almost like, a lot of us have probably experienced like a relationship or new friends that were in relationships or had friends that were like this, where it's like every time that things got too overwhelming, it was like, fine, we're broken up, or I'm leaving, or we're never talking again. And I think that's probably what a lot of people are seeing. And it's sad and scary if you don't want the podcast to go away, and if you care about these people. If you're just going to be a dick and just be like, mental health, Trisha shouldn't, blah, 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 like, you can really just go stuff it. But hopefully it's out of concern. I've seen a lot of people just kind of sad about it. But also the, respect for how they handled it. Compared to their history, you got to give people, you've got to judge people to a degree against their history. If people are showing, if for instance, if Trisha acts a certain way and Gabbie acts a certain way, and it's growth for Trisha and it is a regression for Gabbie, then I'm going to praise Trisha and I'm going to criticize Gabbie. Guess what? Like, welcome to my channel. That's why sometimes you hear me criticizing the people that you like and you see me praising the people you don't like. That's what this channel is about. So that's that. So Tall, So Lame says the most insecure dogs bark the loudest. They really do. It's the little dogs, right? The little dogs that know that they can't win in a fight. Maggie K says, I'm so happy to hear you being empathetic to Trisha. So many comments were just putting them down and I didn't think it was fair. Thank you. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that so many people were. So I don't know if you're watching this, Trisha, but if you are, we love you over here for the most part. I'm sure there are people who watch my videos who don't. But at the very least, a lot of people in my audience have a lot of respect for Trisha for how much they've grown over the past year. Thanks again to a Roblox kid without a message. Also, So Tall, So Lame said, and Gabbie Hanna is pretty damn loud. That was a nice callback to the other super chat you sent. That's funny. Gemma says, I empathize for them both, but this whole situation felt awkward to watch. It felt like a logistics meeting we shouldn't be privy to. Exactly. And that's exactly why I said that I wish that they had a business meeting about this. Maybe as soon as Trisha was starting to feel this way, or finish the episode, do your best and be like, hey, we talk. I wish that that's how it had gone down. It's probably something that they've never had to deal with. I don't know how much experience. I know that they're both good business people, but Trisha has talked about not having a history of working with people. So maybe this is just not a strong point for them. Maybe it's a learning opportunity. Let's see. Oh my goodness, there's so many. Okay. Mel Sandoval says, in your and everyone else's opinion here, do y'all think that the episode should have aired? Should they have been even filmed when they were already so triggered? Probably not. I think we all want to see it. I think they want to put it out and get the views. I get it. I get why they put it out. They probably shouldn't have, because at the very least, they should not have done that without having a calm conversation about this. And I really hope they have it. For a second, I was like, I'll bet you they'll just have Dr. Drew on to help them work through this. And hey, if that's a running theme for them, I almost kind of wish it for them. But yeah, this episode wasn't one of the best. It was just kind of not the best energy, and that happens from time to time. But yeah, it was just also to Gemma's point, a conversation we probably shouldn't have been privy to. Blue says, this is a super chat to make you smile and nervous. Joke's on you, Blue. I take compliments and affection well. I don't take apologies well. For some reason. And Show with No Name just sent me a little sticker that looks like, I think we've talked about this, that it's a Shiba. Is it a Shiba Inu or an Akita? I get those two breeds mixed up, but it's cute. Danielle says she's not a regular journalist. She's a cool journalist with the stupid ass jokes. I love that. Thank you. Thank you for that laugh. Mariachi Goth says, LOL, they're really sending their parents money to send a message you'll never read. They can stay mad. Yeah, they can. Love the dirty water. That dirty water says, please consider this my modest donation to throw a pizza party for the mods to thank them for all they do. Thank you. I'm going to put that into the fund that pays for everybody's plane tickets to go on some retreat. That, or maybe one of these days I will Uber Eats everybody a pizza. That would be expensive, but I'll do one of these days. Kate says, regarding the stands, do you think that they're really still active? Maybe I'm biased because I was only looking with the Twitter trends. I don't know if there's more to that. It says ... There are 4 dots. So I think that is the end. Are they really still active? To be honest with you, I don't know because I only know what people send me or what people share in conversations that I see. I don't like go out looking for them. I know that there are a couple who are like really like kind of like really trying to stick to their guns, and they look stupid as hell doing it. There are 2 that I can think of in particular, and I don't want to say their names because I have a platform and they don't. But one of them is somebody who's committed crimes against me and Jen Dent, and this person is thick as hell. And when I say thick, I mean like dense, like things don't get through. And that is not an insult to anybody's mental health, neurology. Like I said, I'm done on this channel. We are done. We're done. We talk about mental health, but we are so done with blaming any bad behavior on mental health and neurology. So if you're going to be an asshole, if you're going to be completely unteachable when people put something in front of you and they go, hey, this is exactly what teaches you why what you're doing is illegal, and you just say like, no, not valid. That's you being an asshole. That's not your mental health. That's not your neurology. That's you being an asshole. Wow, tangent. So that person, and then somebody else who's just like really like, again, somebody who just doesn't sound very smart, just like trying, like it's like they're grasping at straws to try to defend Gabbie, and everything sounds stupid. But like I said, a couple of them I've seen kind of really like kind of go against Gabbie, and I have a lot of respect. And to be fair, I have respect for my own patrons for being able to disagree with me. So it's not just like I respect people who disagree with Gabbie and that's what it's about. It's not. It's about being able to not disrespect. It's about being able to disagree with the person that you are there to support. So respect for that. Also, but like, don't do it just to do it. Don't like dissent constantly just to be a dick. Like, and then you're just being a dick, which is our number 1 rule. Don't do that. Don't be that. And again, where I see Jamie said, lick and sugar scrub. If you don't know what that means like and subscribe. If you haven't picked that up, lick and sugar scrub. I like that. Thank you. Angeler Doodles. Leash, you are amazing. Loving the BAP and everything else you're doing. Thank you. Shout out to the mods and the kind community here. Thank you. I love that you guys are shouting out the community and the Blue Wrenches. They're just fantastic people. They're amazing fucking people. They really are. Even the person that I had to let go, the 2 people I had to let go, like, they were really nice about it. We're just like, things are just so easy with this community of people for the most part. Dante says, trigger warning. She's about to talk about some essay and gaslighting, etc. Hope you don't mind me doing this. If you do, I respect that. Oh, thank you so much. I'm sorry if I didn't. I gave a trigger warning at the beginning, but thank you. I don't ever mind you guys throwing trigger warnings up because I'm terrible at them. Koala the Queen got more money from 5 British pounds for a message that was probably nasty. So thanks for giving me your money for an insult that I don't even have to look at. Liz, 2 other hella cringe moments in Gabbie Hanna interview, comparing herself sorta kinda to Freddie Mercury. And saying she was so glad all this crap is happening now and not in the future when she wins a Grammy. #girl bye, #delusion. Yes. I think let's create a whole new diagnosis for Gabbie Hanna. Gabbie Hanna has Mercury Spears syndrome. Let's just put it that way, where like when she is, because we hear a lot about a lot of diagnoses, and she chalks up everything to diagnoses, but we hear a lot about this like dichotomy of having a big ego and a small sense of self, that those things that goes hand in hand. And so it's a mind fuck a little bit. You see somebody, it seems like they have so much self-esteem and confidence, but really it's all ego. And that's why the moment that they get any sort of criticism, you see them like crumble. And so I think that and there's another thing that my therapist in DC said is that like oftentimes with people who have certain traits of a certain personality disorder, I'm not going to name, and when she said when people have traits of a personality disorder, doesn't mean somebody has that personality disorder. It just means they have the trait, some traits. But she said some traits of certain personality disorders, you have really just what I said, like such a little sense of self that that comes along with a sense of bravado, so that you're putting out there how amazing your life is. And like, you've got to tell everybody that to kind of compensate for this like feeling of being small on the inside. So I think sometimes she talks about being it was Lady Gaga before, if you don't remember. And she was talking about the Grammys then too. It was Lady Gaga, and now it's Freddie Mercury, which, can we take a moment? I'm so sorry if you love Queen. You're not with me right now, and you're probably not going to send the super chat that you were thinking about sending. I just think it's annoying that Queen has been around for when did they form? In the 70s or so, early 70s, maybe late 60s even. If it was the 60s, they were early on, but like the 70s, and they've been an iconic, amazing, super respected band this whole time. But Rami Malek does a movie about Freddie Mercury, and then all of a sudden, every YouTuber is a huge Queen fan. I think that's funny. I'm sure they will all say that they loved Queen well before that, but why am I only hearing about it now? So that's kind of funny. Yes, I did. I did notice that. But then at the same time, when she's feeling really down on herself, she posts a lot about Britney Spears, and I think that she thinks that she is living the same experience that Britney did. Sorry, you're neither of those people. Not even close. Ugh, that is really cringeworthy. Ugh. Jiminy Cricket says Gabbie is everything that she claims others are. 100%. I said that about the stands too, and I posted a clip, I think, on Twitter. She's always talking into a mirror. Totally. Maddie Dell says I'm #wine gang instead of water oops. If that's what you decide to do, go for it. I cannot be. I'm not allowed to be a member of that gang. But I will take your #wine gang as a #water gang. I was going to say I'm going to have to pee so hard at the end of this, but thinking now I'm realizing we don't have that much time left. Maybe next week we'll have more of an outline, or maybe this is just the format. You guys have to let me know. I'm definitely not going to not read my super chats. So I super appreciate you guys sending them in. Maybe we'll read emails soon, or on Thursday. Ven also says, to be honest, I think Trish deserves criticism, but acting like they're a horrible person and completely ignoring their growth over the past few months. Yeah, agreed. And people need criticism. I think that we get into the habit, and we all do it, and everybody in the YouTube audience does it, putting people on a pedestal if they're in the public favor, really. And Trisha has gone from, and it depends, because like I said, there are some people who still don't like them. But for a lot of people, Trisha has gone from being like a disliked YouTuber to, oh my God, we were wrong about Trisha. Trisha's actually great. Look at all the growth. And then forget that person is still fallible. That person still makes mistakes. That person still misbehaves. That person still is deserving of criticism. And thankfully with this person, they accept the criticism. I can say that from the very beginning. Back when I said Trisha should not be on YouTube, when I said I said she, because at the time I said she should be deplatformed. And Trisha took that and talked about it in stories and like accepted the criticism. Thanked me for standing up for them where it was deserved and accepted the criticism. Can we have more of that from other people, please? um, Lucy says grown adults with kids fighting their battles equals sad AF. Truer words were never spoken. Reminder for the chat that Trisha's pronouns are they, them. Thank you, Goobs, for the reminder. We love good, friendly reminders around here. Don't ever take them personally. People are really decent around here about helping people just remember the important things. It's really cool that we're having like almost 2,000 people enter the chat and that you guys have given me almost 500 likes. Thank you. That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you. We're losing viewers. It would have been nice to see it at over 2,000. Maybe it did, but I didn't miss it. But I did miss it, maybe. Okay, let me see. It looks like there might be at least one more super chat. Let me double check. I say just a couple. No, there are a few. I'm going to read them. So, let's see. Alistair says, Alicia, I'm sorry how I've handled the whole Gabbie. I know we talked about this, but I'm sorry if I lost your respect for going to her channel. You didn't. It's really okay. I don't know what you said. If you said something mean, that's not okay. I don't stand by that. But maybe the proper thing to do would be to apologize there on her video if you did say something out of line. But you guys, we're human. If you make a mistake, apologize to it. Apologize to the proper party. You haven't lost me. I'm still there with you. And I appreciate you, and I appreciate your self-reflection and your honesty. So I like you being here. Cheyenne says, a good book recommendation for BPD that a BPD specialist recommended to my parents when my sister was diagnosed is I Hate You, Don't Leave Me. That title is compelling. Thank you. I might have to check that out. Marissa says, I think we can be critical while seeing growth, though. It felt gross watching it, to be honest. Yeah. And that's what I strive to have. The audience I strive to have is people who can be critical and recognize growth. Because what's the point? Like, that's maybe why some people are so like meh about drama channels and commentary channels, is because a lot of people can be really critical, but it's like, where do we recognize when people have grown? And I'm sorry, but I started this over a year ago thinking that like, oh, here's this YouTuber, Gabbie Hanna. Like, I like her kind of, but like, she's got some room to grow. And like, somebody needs to tell her like some of these things she's got to do better. And I fed that criticism, and it was only met with pushback from her and her fans. And so that kept creating this just more and more things to talk about, more and more ways for me to pick apart her behavior. So I don't want to go off on another tangent, but yes, I agree. I want to criticize, but I want to see growth too. Remember when Gabbie Hanna opened up about her essay? The way Gabbie spoke to Jessi Smiles about essay makes me think Gabbie has no empathy, yet she felt for her guy friend who was falsely accused. Reminds me of Shane's infamous IG live. I don't know what to think of the Shane's IG live, but yeah, it is interesting that if her friend was not a rapist, sorry, essay terms, an essayist, if he was not an essay assailant, then she's not an R-word apologist. But it does sound like kind of like how the default for most people, or should be, is believe victims or believe people who say they're victims. It's almost like Gabbie's default is believe the person who's being accused. Like, that's the default. I could be wrong, but the fact that this happened to her friend, and that's her reason for justifying her criticism of somebody who she didn't even know, coming out and giving her story. Jessi didn't even give her story. She didn't. It was a TMZ article. Jessi did not try to make this public. And for Gabbie just to come in and give her 2 cents and be like, sorry, I just had this whole experience. It makes me think that that your default is that it's the victim's fault, or that the victim is lying until proven innocent. So it's a really good point that you bring that up, because that really just kind of feeds the theory or the fact, however you want to look at it, that Gabbie is an R-word apologist. Dante says, I need rest, but I will watch the rest later. Take care, Alicia. Thank you, mods, for being amazing, and stay hydrated, everyone. Oh, I love you. You're not here anymore, probably, but I love you. Dracula Scapula says, came at no, that's clavicle. Scapula. Not even gonna try. Dracula Scapula came in late, but wanted to say I love you. I love you too. Shannon, a late greetings to the BAP. A reminder to be kind today. It's a good one. You never know if someone is struggling to keep it together on the outside. Hashtag water gang gang. That's a really good message. Thank you, Shannon. Yes, please be kind. The world needs it. I want you guys to be extra kind today, just to make up for the shitstorm that the internet's been. I also just realized I didn't put on earrings for this for the first time ever. Let's see. Mods, you guys haven't, I don't know that you guys have been yelling at me a whole lot. Am I doing okay? You're not mad at me this week? I should note that somebody said I have to say this, just that regarding that book, somebody also said there's also an opinion out there that it is a little outdated and kind of might add to some of the stigma. So maybe it helps some people, but other people might find it offensive, just in case you check it out. Hope that covers that. Thank you for the note to the person who sent that to me. It's just like all the same, like these books that are recommended, like the Sociopath Next Door. Of course, I bought that and read it. There's Codependent No More. There are these like certain books that all these psychiatrists and therapists give out. Lexi says, I'm curious when you all think someone without a platform deserves to be called out. Obviously, when death and SA threats are made, but what else? Curious when you all think someone without a platform deserves to be called out. I think that everybody deserves to be called out when they are being less than responsible with their platform. I think that is probably the best way to put it. That is what I've been calling Gabbie Hanna out for. It's what I called out Trisha for a year ago, why I said you should be deplatformed. They should be called out when they're being irresponsible with their platform, and it gets more severe when they're actively hurting people with their platform, which Gabbie is doing, which Trisha did at that time. And of course, everybody can be called out to a degree. I get called out. I don't think that I'm irresponsible with my platform. Some people might think I am. But on the whole, I think that I do a decent job with the messages that I put out, but I still deserve a good bit of the criticism I get, and I need it. So in that sense, everybody needs to get, because we can't just give everybody positive feedback all the time. That's just not how jobs work. That's not how life works. And that's not how people get better. So that's like, if you're just feeding somebody praise, that person's going to turn into a shit person real fast. So criticism is for everybody. Calling out, when people being called out and perhaps deplatformed, I think that's when you're looking at like irresponsibility and hurt, causing hurt to others with your platform, abusing your platform. Is really when you really need to be called out, when you need to put like in some sort of like influencer jail. Von Lauren says, super chat on behalf of everyone who wants to but can't. Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, $20. That was for everybody. That's really sweet of you, Vaughn. Thanks for creating the space for us, Leash. And then you gave me a rainbow of hearts. Thank you. Thank you for you guys make this space. So thank you for being here in this space and making it what it is. Alexandra says, Hi, Leash. Been a big fan since last summer, but silent until now. Love your level-headedness, your voice. I sometimes put you on to help me sleep. Hope that's not too weird. About time I show some visible support. Thank you. I'm laughing because I've heard that so many times, and now I get it as a YouTuber because I've said things like in comments before, like, "Hope this isn't weird," but like I really like Carly's eyes with her hair with her eyes, like, or like that hairstyle with her eyes or something like that. And I'm realizing that like all the things that's like, hope this doesn't sound weird. Like at least what I get, it's things that people tell me all the time, and I don't mind it at all. I actually, sorry if you were here just for Jessi and Gabbie T. I'm going off on a tangent, but I grew up being really insecure about my voice. My voice was like this when I was 7. So I had a teacher recommend that a surgery I don't even know exists, but recommended to my parents that I get a voice change operation, which I don't think exists, but also definitely violates like I guess what are you rules that against what teachers are allowed to say. And it's mean. I had a kid bully me and tell me that, or not. I think he was just dumb. He told me that I sounded like a man, and so I felt really insecure about my voice for a long time. But when I started doing YouTube, I started getting a lot of that. A lot of your voice is soothing. I put it on when I go to sleep. I don't take offense to that because I like to watch crime porn to fall asleep. So I don't take that to mean that you think I'm boring. Although, like, I know I'm on the boring side of YouTubers for a lot of people. And yeah, I forgot what else I was going to say, but it's not weird. I think it's nice. I think it's sweet. And thank you. Let me see. Holly says, I'm genuinely disappointed in Gabbie's friends. Due to her behavior, I had to stop watching her friends' content. Irene, Megan, Batoon, etc. Love you. Love you too. I agree. It gets to a point where if you look like you were co-signing this behavior, you need to take a stance on it. It sucks, but that's what goes along with being on a public platform, and being a public figure. So you're talking about people like Peyton, and Irene. They were both there sitting in that room on the Enough podcast. What's funny is I looked up in my phone the text messages that Gabbie sent me right after she did the Enough podcast. I think it's so funny. Maybe I'll put that out on Twitter. But Peyton and Irene were there in the room. She said that she even had to ask them, is this okay that I'm doing all this? And they told her, yes, you need to get this off your chest. And they were like, yep, we told her that. So kind of like, fuck you guys. Like, you need to speak up. You need to speak up as to whether or not you continue to co-sign this stuff. Oh no. Let me grab really quick this little charger. I'm a mess. I never promised to be good at podcasts. That was evidenced by Girlman's podcast, which is still on hiatus. But yeah, Peyton, I think, Irene, Megan Batoon, not as much for me, except for the fact that she was recently on Gabbie's podcast. But I think it was before Gabbie started to go on this rampage. So I don't want to hold everybody accountable to where it's like, if you were ever a friend of somebody, then you need to speak up, because then you have like this weird cancel culture where we're canceling the friends of anybody who's done anything wrong. And then because of that, we're canceling the friends of the friends. And then it kind of just like, it like mushrooms out like that, and I don't love that. But if you were around and you supported that behavior, or we know that you were around while it was going on and you were complicit, then yeah, you need to speak up. Nero HQ says, Pastel Bell Repsion Repzilla brought me here. Oh, yay. I wanted to make content, but this Gabbie Hanna deterred me. I hope those affected have peaceful resolution. That's a really sweet message. Thank you, Nero. Let me see. My goodness, you guys. I didn't have time to do anything but read super chats. I hope that's okay. But of course, I'm going to read what you guys send me if you're paying money. But I think this is good, because I think this is allowing us to get our kind of like initial thoughts out, just kind of like throw it out there. And then perhaps Thursday, we can have like where we read some emails and maybe have a little bit more of an outline of what happened. But also, oh, I see one from Ashley that says you're doing great, BB. Thank you. I love you. But what was I going to say? Also, I wanted to thank you guys because those of you who have written in, I've noticed because I didn't want to be mean, but I expressed to you guys that if your emails are more than like a couple of lines, I probably won't be able to read them on the podcast because you guys see how much time I have to read them. And so I've noticed, oh my God, so many emails started to come in about the Gabbie Hanna stuff. So like, I'm not going to be able to get to them today, obviously, but there were so many, but every time I opened them, I was like, am I going to be able to sift through this in time? And then it would be like 3 lines. And I'm like, and they were all really good points. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for heeding that advice and making that a little bit easier for me. We're going to do our best to read them, I think, on Thursday probably, because y'all have a lot to say in super chats. And if we're going to have to keep this going for as long as we need to keep this going for everybody to get out what they need to say, then we'll do that over the course of coming episodes. Shell Bell said Gabbie Hanna has mercury poisoning. Is that real? Huh. I'll look into that when I get off of this. Wendy says, will you be addressing Creepshow and the lol cow situation? To be honest with you, I don't know. I don't even know what lol cow is. All I know is what I heard initially was Creepshow was, all I understood of it was that Creep was like creating sock accounts. That's what I understood. Maybe that's not what it is, but to like say good things about herself and bad things about herself, almost like drumming up publicity and, just talk about herself. And then that's when I heard that she was saying some not so great things about people like Ready to Glare, like friends of hers. And then I was like, oh, that's really kind of bad. And then it went even further in that somebody told me that she was using slurs. And so I'm like, okay, this is not okay. I don't know. It's tricky. It's a little bit fresh from my situation that I just had with her, but perhaps it deserves a follow-up. Some people have associated it with my video because that was around the time when my video came out. Supposedly she like changed her profile picture and banner changed to look like it was all glitched. And she was saying, oh, a hacker. So, and they were saying that that was aligned with when I put out my video. So I don't know, man. Maybe I will. I guess it all depends on how much time there is. Let's see. And Rachel said, love my nug and fellow wrenches. Yeah, I do too. Thank you, Rachel, for that. Wow, guys. I hope it's okay with you guys that I spent the whole time reading super chats. There's so much to say. Everybody's got a lot to say about this stuff, understandably. And so that's why we have an extra BAP coming on Thursday. And if there's just so much going on that I'm going to have to carve out time for 2 a week, then we'll do that. But hopefully things start to calm down a little bit. I hope that at least for Jessi it does. Vaughn says, leash, mercury poison. Oh, thank you. I'm an idiot. Thank you. I'm not very good at puns. That upsets a lot of people, but hopefully you can love me and see past that and love me. That like puns and dad jokes kind of like, right? So, yeah. But you're allowed to make puns in my Discord and all that. I don't get it. I'm like Trisha. Trisha to memes is me to puns. Trish says, I said this in the chat, but I just wanted to let you know that your style is so on point. I love your content. Thank you. Sometimes I look at myself and I'm like, what? You could have done this better. What were you doing with this? With this fabric, just like doing this? But thank you. I really appreciate it. That's a really nice message. So I'm, as much as I don't want to, because I really like, honestly, I want to sit here and I want to talk to you guys until like 10 or 11 at night so that we can get through the emails so that I can really tell you what I think of the Jessi situation. I don't think it's fair to let you go without like saying anything about this. And so maybe this is something we can look forward to in talking about on Thursday. But, and I really need to write down my thoughts because you guys know that I am friendly with Jessi, that I hung out with her very recently, and that I've been friendly with her, Alex, and Jen for about a year now. And so I have heard these phone calls. I've been privy to this information. So seeing the videos and then me thinking back and remembering what happened in the videos is just a little bit foggy because I'm like, oh, was the memories I have is like, is that something that I was told or is that something I saw in the video? Love that Dirty Water said, hold on, Gabbie's back on TikTok, messy. Ugh. Yeah, messy is the right word. But obviously I feel for Jessi, and I think that I said this a little bit earlier. I said this earlier in certain terms, but I want to make this clear too. I think it was time for Jessi to do this. Even if the internet did not take it well, even if it ended poorly for her, I think she needed to do it. You guys might not know this, but she's been, people are like, who sits on a phone call recording for a year? That sounds calculated. That one of the stands said that. The one that I said is the other one that doesn't sound so smart. In actuality, Jessi's been sitting on making a video or these videos for at least a year, for as long as I've known her. And it's been a really difficult thing for her because she doesn't want to make Gabbie's life hard. At the same time, I mean, I personally, like, when you hear somebody, not only like they are lying and abusing you at the same time and accusing you of lying and abusing them, right? Like, that's so fucked up and backwards that like that needs to be corrected right away. I think that needed to be corrected right away. But understandably, it was making Jessi really anxious at the time. And it still has been making her anxious, hence why she doesn't have her Twitter up. But I think it needed to be said. I think a lot of people, for Jessi's comfort, because it's her own essay that keeps being dredged up, that comes first. But putting that aside, I think that the people, we deserve to know what actually happened and how Gabbie actually behaved, so that we know, because there's all this mystery when really, like, honestly, it's us lay people who are not Gabbie, her friends, Jessi, her friends, or Gabbie stans, because all of those people knew. They knew that this stuff was true. The Gabbie stans. I don't know if I told you guys this, but I saw a Google Doc that the stans were putting together a year ago, in which they kind of like chronicled the Jessi and Gabbie's relationship. And at the very beginning, it said that Gabbie defended Curtis because she didn't want to believe that her friend, I don't think Curtis was her friend, that her friend could do something like that. So hold that thought. October says, I cannot believe Gabbie went back to showing she happy after the situation, just going on like nothing happened. She really can't learn singing you. You know what? Let her. Honestly, let her, because you know that none of us are buying it. Nobody's buying it. You're going to tell me that the past 2-3 years that people have been running these hate trains on you, these hate campaigns on you, and they won't stop, and they're fucking bitches, and Jessi Smiles, I gotta say it, gonna leave it in, I'm the fucking victim. You're going to tell me that all that just like went away? And that when she really came out with some shit, because like before, the shit that you were upset with her before about, which was her saying, oh man, the whole Deanna situation, the fact that's what fucks me up about all this. And I got to tell you guys that out of all of this stuff, one of the things that fucks me up the most is the fact that this fan, Deanna, swore, we've already said, like, it looked like Gabbie was gaslighting this fan, Deanna, who said, I swear on my dead grandfather's grave that I saw a tweet where you were supporting Curtis. I swear a lot of people saw that, Gabbie. And Gabbie convinced this girl that her memory was false when it happened, when she knew that it happened. That fucks me up. That gets to me. So yeah. So tell me that when Jessi comes forward and just says, hey, Gabbie Hanna, you need to stop getting in fans' DMs and sharing personal information. You're talking about Trisha Paytas' personal information. Now you're talking about my personal information. That has to stop. Also, this is the reason people are calling you an R-word apologist. That and her doing a Q&A in which she addresses a Gabbie Hanna question and puts that in the thumbnail or the title. Like, really, if that is going to send you on a #enough podcast where you text me that like you are screaming, you had to get this stuff out, I'm not going to believe you when I see the singing. Like, I don't buy it. It's just like Peyton changing his profile to everything potatoes because one of my followers called him that. It's you're trying to act unbothered when you would probably I was gonna say you'd probably catch a lot more flies, not with honey, but by being honest. But at the same time, she's got the whole her poem is something like I don't want to catch flies, I want to kill them. So she doesn't want to catch us. She wants to do something else. Yeah. I was gonna say this was a journey, but like I feel like we just started the conversation. So I am going to release myself because I am starving, and I think that my boyfriend is at trivia with my friend, and I have a video to finish. Like, why did I think I should go to trivia with them? I have a video to finish, but I'm going to try to get that video to you tomorrow, 8 p.m., a live premiere. And just so you know, it's not regarding any of this stuff. I filmed it over the weekend and then I had computer troubles. So it's a little old in that sense. And then we'll do this again on Thursday. How's that sound? How's that sound? The chat gets quiet as soon as I say, how's that sound? Go eat. She had the audacity to demand an apology for something she did. Yeah, because of what has happened, what's happened to me or what I've been through or whatever. Like, that's how she talked to me too. Like, We'll talk more about that on Thursday. I'm going to take some good notes and we're going to talk. We're going to talk. I'm going to analyze the shit out of it. I think it's too soon. It's too fresh. Lainey says, sending heart to anyone triggered by the phone call. I don't know if that was a #WaterGang, but I'm hoping you all need to pee by now. Really great chat. Thank you guys. Veranda Tangents. Thank you for joining me on the veranda for another BAP. BAP. I don't know what we call it, how we pronounce it, but whatever this thing is that we do, that we love so much. I love it anyway. Yeah, you guys go watch Gabbie on TikTok. I'm gonna go to trivia. I love you all. I'll see you guys in the chat if you're there for my video tomorrow. And I'll see you guys physically. I say see you guys. No, you guys will see me. You guys will see me, but I'll chat with you. I'll see your chats tomorrow and Thursday. So I'm looking forward to it. See you soon. All right. I love you guys. Yes, I love you. Make sure that you, instead of telling just one person that you love them or you're thinking of them, try at least 2 people today because the world's been extra nasty. So 2 people, please. Send a hug or an I love you to 2 different people. All right. I love you. Bye.